Hey guys, what tire pressure should you be running an F125? You're kind of inspired by Limitless's video of looking at different tire pressures. He focused mostly on a 5 lap race on softs, and in these 5 lap races, tire wear is cut in half. And I think if you can dive into the telemetry more, of actually doing some laps with different tire pressure and kind of see what's causing, what changes are we noticing with lower tire pressure? Is it impacting wear? Is it impacting core temps, surface temps? Top speed. So I started doing 5 laps of Japan. I chose mid tire pressures. I didn't want to go min and max because I think mid tire pressures is a better kind of starting place, mid versus max tire pressures. 5 laps at Japan. I wasn't looking at the first lap, and I was actually taking out that first lap wear just because the starts now are so uh, heavy on wear, especially on the rears, that we didn't want that influencing how our wear calculations were being done. But I did 5 laps versus 5 laps, but I really did more than that. I didn't want to just do, it took a long time, to get the pace up to pace somewhat and get, everything working with the telemetry and kind of doing them back to back and not one day do 5 laps, another day do 5 laps. So I probably did 40 laps in total, but I chose 2 sets of 5 that are the closest in terms of lap time and feel. And so it was on 110 AI, but collisions were turned off, so there was no dirty air. And I was right at kind of the back of the pack of the AI at 110 when collisions were off, which kind of it does impact the pace somewhat. And it's usually faster when they don't have to deal with each other. So first thing you might as well look at lap time. So a graph on lap time, shows that they're similar on lap time. Especially the average. The average is within 1/100th of a second on the average of those 4 laps. They're within a few tenths of each lap, depending on what lap number you're looking at. So yeah, I didn't feel wise. Maybe it feels a little bit different having mid tire pressures versus max. Maybe the turn in is a bit different, but I wasn't significantly faster or significantly slower with these mid tire pressures. Another thing I want to look at, top speed. So top speed, we did seem like we were faster with max tire pressures. So you would think, okay, here's a graph, max tire pressures per lap. Oh wow, max tire pressures at faster top speed. Well, when I dive into telemetry, it's not as simple as that. Wear wise, wear when I took away the first lap, we had 17.2% wear from 4 laps on the rears, and then versus 17.2, so it's the same on the rears. 15.9 versus 16.2 within that 4 lap time period on the front. So I didn't see a difference in really tire wear either, as well as feel. So I didn't see much difference there. Looking into the telemetry, it does get a bit interesting. So this is Sim Racing Telemetry is the software I used. So I looked at lap 5. I've looked at every lap, but I want to show you lap 5 specifically. 33.8, 33.8, within half a tenth of each other. Similar. This is the top link. Similar, changes throughout the lap of weird difference. Blue is in the blue tire pressure is max tire pressure. Red tire pressure. The red curve is the mid tire pressure or lower tire pressure. First thing you look at, surface temperature. We saw in previous videos, surface temperature does seem to have an impact on wear, or whether your driving has an impact on surface temperatures, and that increases wear. Slightly higher surface temperatures on the lower tire pressures, but if you looked at more and more laps, of which I've done like 20 and 20 of each, I have not seen a big impact of tire pressures impacting surface temperatures. Again, it seems to be down to driving style. Any little bits of driving style is going to have a big impact on surface temperatures. The front left, rear left, front right. And at some points, the even at like this high speed section, so high speed flat out 70R curve, they're basically the same on surface temperature. So that's when the driving style you think would be pretty similar. It's just a flat out corner to the left. No change in surface temperature. Front left wear. Again, they started at a bit different values just because of lap 1, but by the end, and by the variation between laps, I didn't see a difference in tire wear. Inner surface temperature of the, so this is core temperature. This is where I did see a change. Consistently, the mid tire pressures had higher core temperatures. So this is by 4 degrees by the end of these laps. So 4 degrees on front left, again 4 degrees, again up to 5 degrees on the rear left, rear right of core temperatures. So having the lower tire pressures has a higher core temperatures. That actually does make a difference in terms of grip curves and core temperature range. For these C3 tires at Japan, you want to be between 85 and 95. We're now making, by lowering rear tire pressures, we're now getting up to about 100 degrees Celsius on the rear core temperatures. Now that can make a difference in grip. It's probably going to be small, but that is something that I would say you'd probably want to be running closer to max tire pressures to be in that core temperature range. In terms of velocity, so again, we saw, okay, max tire pressures is having a higher velocity. So okay, we think having higher tire pressure, less drag, higher velocity. It's not so simple. So the graph below it is energy recovery system power. So this is in the medium overtake mode. We actually see something interesting, how when you're in medium and you get to close to your top speed, you start losing power. The deployment starts lowering, and the faster you're going, the sooner it starts to lower. So it's an interesting case of where the blue curve, the blue max tire pressure curve, it starts to lower sooner. Now why could that be? Now you could think maybe, okay, it's less drag at the max tire pressures. That was my first time. Therefore, we can start easing back on the deployment sooner. Therefore, we'll have a higher top speed. It's not that simple. We have to talk about engine temperatures. So engine temperatures are causing a change in ICU power, or ICE power, internal combustion engine power. This graph here is the internal combustion engine power. Once we get past 125, we start losing engine combustion power, max output, and even a slight change of that max output is what is causing reductions in max top speed. So after getting through all that data, what would we recommend in terms of tire pressure? Race, I'm still leaning towards maxed or close to max on terms of PSI. It depends on that core temperature window. If you need to lower fronts or lower rears to help get your tires more into that core temperature window, I think it could be beneficial. But just lowering them and then raising and then getting out of that core temperature window, I don't think that would be ideal. In terms of where, I don't see a difference. In terms of top speed, I don't see a difference. I guess it's down to the driver if they feel that it helps with the balance. Limitless was saying that it's not necessarily faster, but the balance of the car does feel different with lower tire pressures, and it may help give you some traction at low speed corners on the rear or help you with turning on the front. So again, I would say max to maybe 1 or 2 PSI lowering, and that's maybe just for quali if we're really trying to reduce core temperatures during the race and just help manage the windows on the tire temperatures. So hopefully this was all a good detailed explanation, really a deep dive into these tire pressures and trying to figure out what's going on with wear and top speed. Thank you so much for watching. See ya. Bye.